We have multiple huge Jays updates to go over today. And following what was a huge win against the Orioles, we have some very interesting updates, particularly surrounding Anthony Santander and one other surprising name. We're going to break down exactly what those are and discuss what it means going forward. But not only that, folks, we have some comments from John Schneider following yesterday's win, revealing some interesting information surrounding his plans going forward, as well as a few other things on this episode, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. You guys have been absolute beasts with the support. And again, thank you guys for continued support over here. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot to dive into today. Yesterday's game, I didn't have a post-game video, but man, was it electric. I mean, Miles Straw getting a clutch double. You're going up against Rogers, the Orioles' best starting pitcher, one of the best starting pitchers we've seen this year, and they come out and win. But behind the scenes, and we'll dive into the game a little bit later on in the video, but behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen, there are some things going on that are pretty encouraging. Now, that is involving Santander and Alek Manoah. And I want to start with Mr. Manoah. Then we'll dive into Santander as we have a pretty big update on his front as well. Now, let's start with this here. So he pitched for Buffalo yesterday night, and Anthony Santander also played in this game. He went 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, 8 Ks with a 68% strike to ball ratio. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is now back-to-back starts where he looked good, and this is very encouraging. Now, is this encouraging for this year? I don't think there's any world where Manoah, factors himself into an everyday role, even a role at all with the Toronto Blue Jays this year. Obviously, not every day starting pitcher because they have so many starting pitchers. You have Eric Lauer, who's not getting into any games. But him being really good, ladies and gentlemen, is huge for next year, potentially huge for his trade value. But overall, just it's all positive. And he struck out, meaning 50%, yes, 50% of his 14 batters that he faced through 4 innings. Really good execution with his four-seamer and changeup. And we know when he was great in his prime, four-seamer, changeup, slider, he was dominant. He had Aaron Judge swinging, down and away. I mean, this is a guy that at one point was really, really good and then kind of, fell off since then. And to have him come out and have such a great game is really encouraging. And ultimately, he probably won't have an impact this year, but he will have some sort of impact, I presume, in the future. Maybe, he finds a way, Barry, hopefully, God forbid injuries happen. But if injuries happen, maybe they go to him instead of a guy like Trey Savage or even, in-house like Eric Lauer. A lot of different ways they could go here, but ultimately, a very good start for that. And let me know down below what your thoughts are on specifically Mr. Manoah's start. Now, let's dive into Santander. Anyway, no, September 8th, a few days ago, came out that he would be beginning, misspoke there, a 5-game rehab assignment with AAA. We know how important that is, and his goal was 5 games-ish. We have an update from Arden Zwelling following that. Now, he obviously played yesterday in the same game as Alek Manoah, and he didn't do quite as good as his first game. First game, of course, he hit a home run, a couple walks, laced the ball. Yesterday's game, he went 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Clearly, his eye is, working well. But for Anthony Santander here, it's going to be an interesting road back. Now, I don't think they're looking at the results as much as they are how he's feeling specifically with his left-handed swing. Now, I've covered it in the channel a bunch. His left-handed swing is not quite as cut up as his right-handed swing, albeit he had a left-handed swing and home run yesterday, or the day before yesterday, sorry. But regardless of that, right? He went 0 for 2 with 2 walks, but he's feeling good. There is a real chance, ladies and gentlemen, that he gets into Blue Jays games next week. Now, Arden Zwelling came out with a new report specifically surrounding Anthony Santander, saying that they're DHing him for the next couple days, and I believe Sunday, it's Sunday, correct me if I'm wrong, if Sunday, it's one of the next few games, he's going to be playing outfield, which is an interesting development. Now, I covered it on the channel yesterday, I believe it was, the day before. The reason they're doing that is because they want to be able to play him in the field. They want to keep George Springer as a DH. And I saw a lot of you guys in the comments yesterday saying, George Springer isn't that bad of an outfielder, all these different things. Metrics-wise, it doesn't favor him defensively. I still think he's an okay defender, like eye test-wise. But they want to have Santander out there, in the outfield. So he's going to be playing the outfield over the next few days. And then I assume right after he finishes that outfielding game, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be right in there. He'll be right in there in the Jays lineup. Probably they play the Rays after this and then Baltimore again. Maybe for that Baltimore series, maybe for another series beyond that. But it's going to be an absolute, hopefully, pleasure to watch him hit. He looked really bad for the Jays earlier on this year. And we know John Schneider said, we're running out of time. We'll have to see how he feels. And like I mentioned, his right-handed swing is good. His left-handed swing isn't. However, could you use him against lefties? Obviously, that means you'll be using his right-handed swing. Yes, and they probably will do that. However, his left-handed swing has been trailing it, and you have to open up a spot. Like, do you send down Loper Fido? Do you designate Ty France for assignment? I don't think they do the Ty France thing because of how good he's been at first base defensively, especially yesterday. And he almost hit a 3-run home run yesterday. I'm on that side of it. Let me know down below. A, do you want to see Santander back with the team? And B, who would you obviously get rid of in exchange for adding Santander to the roster? Because at the end of the day, they want him playing outfield. Aaron Zolling reported yesterday night that they are going to be playing him in the outfield in the next coming days, and hopefully he can get back here. But the good news is he's healthy. He hasn't felt anything, at least as of now, and that's going to be that there. Now, folks, let's swing over to a couple other updates now. Now, the projected pitching matchups, we know yesterday was Bassett versus Trevor Rogers. They took care of business there. It's going to be presumably, assuming he's all good and all healthy, Scherzer this afternoon, and then Bieber on Sunday. You got to win both of these games. Obviously, having Bieber against their bullpen, and their bullpen's terrible. We saw it yesterday. Rogers had a great start, pulled them a little bit early. It is what it is. The Orioles, that is, we took care of their bullpen. You have Sugano tonight, doesn't throw velocity. I expect Varsho in there, Berger in there, probably Heineman in there today. And obviously beyond that, I mean, every lefty you can throw in, he's a soft throwing righty. You can go ahead and take care of business because obviously getting Santander back will help with a lot of the power aspect of it and getting all these different things. However, the Jays just need to go 8-7 in their remaining 15 games to finish 93-69, which would mean the Yankees would need to go 12-3. Now, they do play bad teams, the Orioles, the Twins, the White Sox. But as it currently stands, the Jays are 3 games up on the Yankees because they beat the Red Sox, and they're 4.5 games up on the Red Sox. Now, we know it's like beating a dead horse here. I have said they have the tiebreaker, as we all know, on the Yankees and the Red Sox. So for all intents and purposes here, it's 4 games up on the Yankees, 5.5 games up on the Red Sox. What does that mean? Like, you probably want the Red Sox to, win. Again, anything but a sweep here between the two teams because the Yankees and Red Sox are playing each other. But the Jays also play the Red Sox. So if they're super far behind, that makes that series a bit less, concerning, which could be a benefit to the Yankees winning. I'm more scared of the Yankees personally than I am the Red Sox. I know Buck Martinez hates the Yankees, calls them trash on the broadcast, and says he'd much rather the Red Sox. They don't have good pitching outside of Garrett Crochet, so it's going to be interesting on that front. But just seeing that they don't need to win a bunch of games here to probably win the AL East is a really good sign, especially with hopefully Anthony Santander returning soon, and it's going to be a wild ride, folks. And some quick other, updates here on Manoah before we wrap up the video. People were talking about whether or not he'd get upset about getting, not designated for assignment, but sent down to AAA. The answer is no. You can see this here. Alek understands it's been 14 months or so of hard work, and it may take a little bit of time. So if it's this year, if it's next year, we just want him to be himself. So should be fine. He had a great outing. Obviously, Orelvis is DFA, but he had a great outing yesterday. And folks, the Jays are in a position now to take care of the AL East for the first time in over a decade. That'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Also, one tidbit bonus for you guys who made it to the end of the video. Late last night it came out. I know a lot of people thought Bassett was injured. He's not specifically injured, and he wasn't really dealing with anything. Schneider just wanted to take him out because he wasn't feeling great, probably the flu, but he's not injured. He's ready to go for his next start, and the Jays took care of business.